All right, so I guess just to start off this negotiation, it seems like both of our clients are, at an impasse right now.
Yeah, it seems a little bit of hostility.
Yeah, a little hostility, and it seems to me like their problem probably could be cleared up if they were more clear-headed and, cordial about what they were talking about. So in that spirit, I'm just going to open up and disclose pretty much everything that I have on my side.
Okay,
The first thing that we should just start with is I don't have the authority to make an agreement.
Okay.
I can't, sign anything on my client's behalf.
That's referred back to Hacker.
Yeah, it's I can make a proposal, and he said, he'll give my consideration, give a lot of weight, but that's about it.
Okay.
Just so that's out on the table right away. All right, so one of the first things that's important to my client, and I guess as we go through these things, just let me know where you're at on the same issue. So keeping the company together is definitely important to my client.
That is very good to hear.
But he also doesn't want to feel like he's taken. He's kind of a prideful guy. He doesn't want to feel taken by your client.
Which I don't even
know really what that means from my client. He just doesn't want to be taken advantage of, and I don't think that's going to be a problem if we're just being open.
That's very interesting for you to say, because it's my client's stance too, that he feels that he puts up the capital and he has a lot of trust in Hacker and his abilities and whatnot, because he's obviously way more in tune with this kind of work than my star is. But he actually felt a reciprocal of that. He felt that his ideas weren't being acknowledged and taken into account. Apparently our clients, their start off had a Hollywood script idea, and your client just completely shot it out of the ground.
Okay.
And now with this impasse, your client has made it a little bit personal to mine, bringing up the ex-wife and whatnot. It seems very heated. So it's odd to me that your client said that, but if that is a concern of him, I assure you that my client also, that is not an issue that in contention. We can totally deal with that.
I think it's one of those things that, his feeling probably led to, the slight at his wife and your client's wife and things like that. And also, I can understand from your side as, he doesn't want to be taken advantage of there.
Of course.
And, he probably feels that, based on what I know, he feels that, my client was using company resources to develop something that, if he didn't get a piece of it, then he would be getting taken advantage of.
Yes, certainly.
So I get that on your side, too.
Okay. Is that another issue in contention right now? So does your client agree that he did use the company resources and they made the power screen on company time, or is that an issue you're going to consider?
So as far as that is concerned, he does not feel that he violated his contract or his employment contract in the context of using company time.
Okay.
But because he really wants to keep the company together, so he is willing to. So basically, where his hands are tied, this is just what I have. So I'm just going to give it to you. He was off. The investors that he went to for this power screen thing were able. They came with an offer for HackerStar. And that offer is right here.
They made it toward HackerStar and not toward Hacker personal. They want the deal with the company.
This is a deal that they could do with the royalties with the company, which is 5% gross up to $30,000, 7.5% gross between 30 and 50, 10% gross between 50 and 75, and 12.5% above 75.
So they want the royalty of these percentages.
This is what they're offering for.
That percentage of royalties?
Percentage of, gross sales.
Okay.
On the thing that this is what they're offering HackerStar.
Okay.
And
well, how does your client feel about those, since you have had this communication with them? How does your client feel about this offer?
my client thinks that it's generous, and he is, like I said, I'm showing you my rep plan. This is what I got. This is the only thing. I could speculate as to whether or not we could get a better deal out of that investment group. But as far as my client has told me and the information I know, this is the best deal that the investors are offering.
I'm sure you have the numbers as I do, the account and balance sheet.
Yep.
From my understanding of that, it doesn't really seem too unreasonable. It seems like our client's net income could cover these costs, and from our projected sales, I mean, good power screen is, and that's not a huge percentage to be taken out. However, I feel like it'd be well in the best interest of you and my client, obviously, to not to take as much as we can out of our product.
Yeah.
And as I'm sure you're aware, our clients have kind of even though their products have been profitable, we're still kind of down with the advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And we sell a lot of expenses. Like, our profits don't cover the advertising. Has your client indicated to you all if these venture capitalists would like to invest into our company, maybe for like a Class B stock?
Yeah, so that is something that just to clarify, just before I touch on that, is so this is what the investment group would be willing to cut our HackerStar in on. So all the sales, HackerStar at the top will get 12.5% of the gross sales above 75,000.
Whoa.
And the reason that would be in this deal, separate from the idea of them investing in the company, just in this ideal, it seems to me that it's because they are going to be doing all of the marketing and advertising and pushing. We're gonna have no expense.
Okay, well that makes sense then. But who is their marketing and advertising and sales? Because our firms are pretty well represented and well known in the industry.
It is well known and well represented in the industry. However, I know that your client is also not happy with the advertising that's been happening.
My client has not been happy with the sales that have been happening. Our advertising seems to do well. My client's issues with the sales.
Okay, so this is the only thing that I've noticed is with the advertising, if you're looking at the income sheets. So after year 2, from year 1 to year 2,
yes,
this is where we see pretty much the only time where it's so we increase spending on advertising 37%.
Yes.
And we get a nearly 300% increase, right? Mm-hmm. Now, this is something that my client talks about where, there's a big timing issue as far as this industry goes, where once the market's saturated with other products that are similar, advertising's not going to do much, and you hit it as fast as you can.
That's why we needed line.
Because if you see in year 2 to year 3, we increase the advertising expense by 70%, and we lose a 30% net income.
Yeah, I see that.
Whereas now year 4, this is now going to be the second year of the new Word process that comes out, and you can see that all those sales have expanded, and we only increase advertising by 8%, but net income goes up 80%. So there's not like a huge correlation in any of these from year to year. This one, then the next year we increase advertising by 3%, and we lose 30% again.
Yeah, that's something
increase 8%, lose 25%.
That's something I noticed too. But I also feel like our sales can be better with getting into the bigger our direct sales. I forget what it's called. How we go to directly our direct mail and whatnot. I just feel like our sales department should be stepped up better too. I understand what you're saying with advertising, and I think that's very reasonable with these venture capitalists.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I noticed with the advertising too. However, I still think our sales should be vamped up. I feel like we need to be more sophisticated in-house because, I don't think this venture capitalist group is going to be with us for the long haul.
So this is one thing that, also, obviously I don't know, I can't make the deal, but my client is actually hoping that we'll be able to get them to buy into HackerStar and my idea, and pending my client's approval, would be that hackers, the Gates company buying in, the Gates company is also starting a software advertising and marketing firm.
Okay.
So
that
by
could
them
be like
buying
an
in,
arm of
that
us.
could possibly be an arm of
Right.
HackerStar, and they could really, focus on the advertising and marketing idea.
And it'd be a sort of an in-house thing,
It would
less
be-
expenses.
It probably, yeah, we'd have less expenses, and
You guys talked about that? Is there any numbers? I mean, I know we don't have too many numbers with the firm we have now, besides what we've ultimately paid every year.
no, I don't believe there's numbers, but what there is, I have not met with this group, with this investment group, the Gates company, but my client has, and he is the one who has expressed an interest in trying to create this package deal where Gates would hopefully consider buying into the company.
Okay.
And I think something that would probably help that, and like I said, I haven't talked to this Gates group, would be, accepting the offer that, or at least
This initial offer for this power agreement.
At least suggesting to my client and
That
your client
we're
at least
interested in
accepting
those
their
ranges.
offer.
Yeah.
And once again, they're willing to take on all of the, it seems like they're willing to take on all the advertising and marketing for this at this rate. If they buy into the company, it seems like it would be something that, now we're getting a bigger percentage than this because.
Yeah, if they did buy the company though, and this is to pretend you're my client, and since we're the founders of our own company, I feel that we should protect our interests, our influence, and even though it's not to come, we don't need to decide this right now, but
Something to suggest to our clients.
We should keep some voting rights in our favor. Maybe think of issuing them preferred stock instead of common, or maybe a Class B voting rights. So our clients can always supersede their votes, no matter what.
Okay.
That has to do with HackerStar products.
Yeah, I think that would probably be something we'd be interested in. I know one thing that my client, and like I said, I'm just trying to throw everything that I have out there. My clients and your client disagree about advertising and how much it should be done, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Well, if we bring in this other group, if it's possible even to bring it in, then I think my client would feel best if, they were just given all the advertising decisions.
Okay.
That would be what their role essentially was in the company.
I don't have any qualms with that. I mean, from what my clients relate to me is that the marketing agency we use now does a great job and has a good reputation, but there's really no indication that there's a strong relationship or there would be any hard feelings if we partnered with them. And if we go with these venture capital Gates group, I see it only as a plus. First of all, we lower our expenses,
and that seems like it seems like your client is satisfied with the level of advertising, also strongly tied to the amount that you're spending.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can't imagine he would be opposed to increased
advertising for less the money. Yeah,
exactly.
Not at all. No.
And that is what my client is looking for, and I think he's specifically looking at that figure where we increase. Where's that one? We increase our sales or our advertising after the first year of developing the original the first product that they put out.
Yeah.
And it's a 300% increase after only a 37% increase in advertising costs.
Well, I mean, like I said, these numbers look very reasonable and they look fantastic. I have to obviously bring it back to my client, but I'll make the merits known. Definitely.
So another thing is, okay, so this is all speculative whether or not we'll be able to make this agreement with Gates. But if we're not willing, or if we're not able to make I guess this would be if we are or if we aren't. One of the things that my client has expressed is that he's more concerned with having his computer programs recognized and respected than with financial rewards per se.
Okay.
So, and I think that maybe some of the tension that's building between our clients is the fact that, you know, my client sees himself as like this creative genius who just wants to push stuff out, and he wants to make a profit, obviously. Whereas your client is more concerned with the, you know, the profit.
Well, and this goes into something that concerned my client, and like I agree. Mr. Hacker is very talented, and he has every right to consider himself like a creative genius, stuff like that. But what confuses me is that he takes it upon himself to also do these sales, and I think, and so is my client, that this takes away from his time that he could be producing some greater products.
We're on the same level.
So my client wanted to suggest moving him to head of R&D, and either making this. Well, I don't know if we want to make this guy we have now, the Sparks guy, for the cost we're giving him and his production output. I don't know if we want to keep him on. My client suggested finding a young and enthusiastic new business grad that we can only get for cheap and that can work and build with our company instead of keeping Sparks on. I know your client is kind of partial to Sparks. He's kind of liked him a little bit. But to be honest, my client sees his work as mediocre. Things we can get better for cheaper.
I'm trying to just let me go through my notes here. I'm trying to see exactly how attached my client is to
Mr. Sparks.
Mr. Sparks.
Because I know him and your client work much more closely together than mine.
All that I know is that Hacker is. He said that he's quite satisfied with Sparks' work. It doesn't seem that he's overly attached, other than he disagrees on the quality of work with your client. So I don't think it would be an issue if the two were to agree on, you know, hiring someone else.
Yeah, maybe we can buy out his contract and or wait out the term of his contract.
Yeah.
And get rid of him and bring in another cheaper.
I think that would be fine. But yeah, one of my points even here was because he's my client is more concerned with, you know, wanting to develop these things. I was going to suggest that his actual suggestion that it would help if the company would support a reasonable number of new products as he develops them, and that the company would give him the time and latitude to do so, because research and development is where his heart is. In that sense, making him the head of research and development with not too stringent of parameters, you know, not saying, you know, being able to work on the projects that he sees fit.
Well, there's that money issue though, because I know with the R&D he's going to want to work on this whole strand of products and stuff. But I also don't want Mr. Hacker to have a bunch of projects all over the place, and then we don't have a product for like 3 years because he's working on several projects at a time. If that's going to be his contention, I'd like to amend his contract and put kind of like an output clause in there. I'd like to see at least one new product in the next 3 years.
We could even say something, you know, just because I don't know too much about the tech industry and I don't want to pigeonhole. Like there might be like, we have this really good idea, but it's going to take 4 years to develop or something. I don't know, but
I don't want to put a definite number on it either.
How about we say something like, you know, we could put something in the contract like. The head of research and development, so he's, you know, his employment contract would be no longer the management sales guy. He'd be the head of research and development. We'll work on, you know, no more than 1 or 2, whatever number we decide, projects at the same time. And once he sees those through to completion, he can start something else. Or if he comes to a point where it's not worth completing, pending board approval, he can scrap that project and start something else.
That's exactly my client. And I feel like we have to bring it back to them to really get those specifics out, since they know it better. But I think we bring the idea to them, that'd be very well. I think overall, we for Mr. Hacker's employment contract, I mean, we should most definitely. I think since he's going to be changing positions, maybe make this old employment contract as him as a sales manager void, and just write up a new one that's him ahead of the research and development with more definite terms, less ambiguity, and just laying out the scope. So we don't have to get at the table again because of the ambiguity of the contract, and so our clients definitely can carry on in an amicable manner.
Definitely.
Knowing what's going on.
I think that. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So I'm trying to think here. So let's just kind of outline what we have here so far. So we have. All right. So we have.
We got the agreement with Gates Company. We can agree on that.
Gates agreement, which is, I guess we don't have to write the whole thing out, but so I'm just going to write the royalty agreement. We have hacker moving to R&D with production limitations.
We have the possibility of we have firing Sparks pending in terms of his contract. It's easier to buy him out or wait till the contract and hire a new, younger, more enthusiastic business grad for cheaper work.
Sparks. Okay, so this so far is like, this doesn't really depend. None of this depends on whether or not we have Gates Company buy in.
No.
So let's talk about the potential of Gates buying in. So I would say my client would probably be, I mean, I don't have any numbers here, but I would be comfortable suggesting that both of our clients would sell 10% of their shares to the Gates Company to buy in, or whatever they were comfortable with, really. But I think the more that they're comfortable selling, the more comfortable that the Gates Company will probably be in, footing the bill for all this stuff.
See, it makes me nervous selling our shares that we already have because our shares come with certain rights. And my clients just, your client and this Gates Company have a stronger relationship than my client and the Gates Company, and that's just my client's concern that even if we give them a little bit of rights, your client still has nearly half, and with theirs, my client can essentially be pushed out of the company by his influence.
Okay, so we could say like a Class B stock.
Yeah, definitely. So I feel like instead of selling it,
no voting,
yeah. Instead of selling them our own shares, I feel like we should create a new stock for the articles of incorporation. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable suggesting that to my client. Yeah. I think also with the Gates buy, there should be, besides just the contract. I don't know if you include this in the contract of sale or if it would just be a condition to signing the contract of sale. Would be giving the Gates Company the control over advertising and marketing for the products that we're pushing out.
Yeah. Well, let's give them advertising and marketing for PowerScreen and beyond. These past two products, we already have the contracts with.
That's fine. That's fine. So,
because if they're going to be putting up capital, we're going to be using it to make these new products. They should definitely.
Yeah, authority to market and advertise. PowerScreen and beyond.
I don't know if it'd be in our best interest to keep this royalty agreement. I think this royalty agreement should just stay with the PowerScreen product, and then we feel it out later for the other products and make a general royalty agreement.
Yeah, so
possibly.
just keep this
or power screen.
For power screen, and then anything beyond power screen, I guess we could be as general as just to say work out royalty percent.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even be royalties really at that point, I don't think.
No,
it would just be
a cut.
what percentage of advertising, how are we allocating the advertising expense between these two separate companies?
Yeah. I agree.
So later negotiate advert split. So yeah, these are going to be separate things. Mm-hmm. So if this doesn't occur, we still have these things, which I think. I'm trying to think if. So would we say for the research and development, as far as like compensation, we just keep the same terms as his other employment contracts?
Yeah, keep the same terms with $30,000 a year. I would like him. I
think it started at $30,000 a year, but
and then it went up. Yeah,
5% increase every year for.
Yeah, I don't think we need to mess with with the bill.
So it would start at like Hacker in year 6. So I don't know if it's this year or last year. He's making $39,700. Yeah. So the employment contract would just reflect that he starts out at $39,700 with a 5% increase.
But so we're not at this table again. I strongly urge, and this is a sticking point for my client, that Mr. Hacker agrees that he completely understands that we write it in the agreement. He completely understands what he works under research and development is Hacker Stars. It is not his own product to go out and solicit things again, because if we keep doing this, we're gonna have to always end up bringing in these new venture capitalists to make save face. As long as he can realize that what he makes in R&D is for Hacker Stars, not his own. Mm-hmm. Within these next 2 years that the contract's still going, or if we decide to make a longer contract, it's good for my client.
Yeah, and I think that one thing about that is, this point of contention that came between our clients is the fact that, there's still going to be 50-50 owners even if this happens as far as voting is concerned.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're the only 2 board members. So it's gonna be the same idea where if the board members have to vote on whether or not they're going to accept a product, and obviously Hacker is going to want to push whatever product you just made because be proud of it, put in a lot of hours. And if Star doesn't want to, we're just going to have the same problem again. Yeah. Less the idea that Hacker was working outside of his employment duties, because now he'd be the head of research and development. So what's a way that we could solve that problem? Because it seems like we're just going to come to the same head again. We could, just throwing things out there, we could try to elect a neutral third party for the board to break ties.
That's exactly what I was going to suggest. Exactly.
Someone like one person that both our clients agree
upon, and then
that way there's no.
Well, what we'll do is
ties.
Some person that I say, how would we do this? We could have each of our person nominate kind of like a fiduciary, and then the fiduciaries pick the third board member.
Okay, say that one more time.
So we're not each like picking. So it's like completely. So the third party is completely neutral. We can have each of our parties pick a fiduciary, pick a representative, and then those representatives are who find and agree on the neutral.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's something we like.
Something like that.
We can suggest. Yeah, that's fine.
We can suggest many different ways. Just a neutral third party, so we can stop this stalemate again.
Yeah, I'm just gonna write. It's its own thing. So, neutral third party to board.
Only condition is he cannot be part of Gates. Cannot be an agent of Gates
Yeah, I mean, I think that's if both of our clients have to agree on who it's going to be, I'm sure your client is not going to agree to that. So I think it's probably fine if we just say that you two need to agree on a neutral third party, whatever makes you happy and comfortable.
Yeah,
with
since neither of us really have authority to make a binding agreement right now, we can always come back with them and think of the.
But I think that'll definitely solve that problem. And I'm trying to think if there's really anything else.
No, my client has that loan that he has not demanded yet from the company, but that was only going to be an issue upon dissolution. I'm sure that loan still stands. It's still payable on demand. Obviously, my client will rather have that. If the company's going to continue, my client will obviously rather have that $30,000 within the company now and take his risk and get it back later. There doesn't really seem to be an issue on a payment plan for the loan.
So just to solidify a suggestion here for product limitation, would you be comfortable saying that we limit Hacker to not working on more than 2 projects at the same time?
Yeah.
Because it seems like he's able to. He was doing other things, and he was also...
He was doing power screen while he was making our last product.
Exactly. So let's say 2 products, because that way, he'll have... If he has something he's really working on, even if he gets, a fanciful idea, he has the ability to, not have to ask the board to get rid of his first project in order to go for this one.
Man, he can work as many products as he wants, really. My client's only contention is that he knows that these products that you're working on are the property of HackerStar.
Yeah, and their ability to be, and whether or not they will be included in the outputted product line will be
subject to the board.
Subject to the board, which will be third party.
Third party.
I think these are all things, I think this is going to help.
Yeah.
I'm trying to... Let's see. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I just want to look over what was disclosed to me to see if there's anything else.
Yeah. So the only thing that's kind of a discrepancy, I guess. So the Gates company intends to set up a software distribution and marketing firm that they're going to call Software Supermarketing.
Okay.
And they might also consider investing in HackerStar directly. So the only thing is that it would be like for the Gates buy-in, it might not be like the Gates parent. I don't know how they're going to set it up. So it might not be the Gates parent company. It might be this Software Supermarket.
Oh,
which is really what we want
them for anyway. Yeah, so it's fine.
Yeah.
With us. Overall, just let's put up there. We'll overall rewrite the agreement. I'm sure we know that though. But yeah, I don't see anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, my client doesn't seem like he's very interested in like touching on any of the other
No,
items in the the office space, phone, supplies, equipment.
It doesn't seem there's anything we really need to fix with our current buyers either. If we need to expand that scope,
that's something that probably if it's possible that this startup from the gates will be able to help with. So I guess maybe what we haven't addressed is if Gates doesn't buy in and they're not able to take over the advertising, it'd still be good to have that neutral third party on the board to decide advertising things.
Yeah, I think that takes care of all our problems in the future. It gets us never to come to the table again. And I guess we'd still just continue with David Mark's advertising agency.
Yeah.
But,
and both of it, when it comes to it, after our clients have picked a neutral third party, they can both make their case for increased or decreased advertising, and that'll be that.
That'll be that. Yeah. It just, I'm a little worried about the ability of this Gates marketing company to come through, but our expenses are just killing us.
Yeah.
So I feel like it may just be our best option.
Yeah, and it seems that the Gates company is, let's see, this backer, they're a group of venture capitalists, so they're gonna understand the idea of making money.
Yeah.
That's their whole job, and it seems like because they want to set up this software supermarketing firm, that they are specifically versed in making money through software distribution.
That's a contention, though. If we're going to buy in, if Gates is going to buy in with us, we have an agreement with Gates, we're not going to want to have them selling in competition against us. We're going to need a clause, If they're going to be a supermarket, they're going to have a lot of other producers, and we may want, if we're going to be initial to them and let them buy in, we may want to have a little clause, maybe an agreement that they don't accept products that for 5 years that are in direct competition with ours.
Yeah, I think that as far as from our company's or our client's company standpoint, that would be good. I'm not sure whether or not the Gates company would go for that, but I think that they would have incentive to sell our products first because they own stock. So it's kind of a double thing for them. If they sell well, their company makes money, and if they sell well, they also get money from.
That's true. It just the venture capitalist for my client, he's a dentist. He's not a very savvy businessman. He's very proud of this company. He just doesn't want to see big firm come in and crash everything
for sure
is built. But
definitely. And I think if you explain,
I
think if you explain to your client,
And again, we don't have authority right now. These are just ideas. So we'll come back if they have something else.
Yeah, and if your client has reservations about Gates buying in because of what you just said, I think you might be able to ease his mind by saying, look, if you let them buy in for as much as you feel comfortable, the more that they're invested in this company, the more they're going to be wanting to sell our products.
Yeah. While we're at the table, we're talking about expenses. It's not really a big contention of my client at all. But our personnel-wise, I don't know if your client has expressed to you or if you yourself have seen of it. Our personnel, I see we have 2 secretaries and a receptionist.
Yeah, he doesn't really say anything about it, except the only thing I have in the fact is that it's a shared, we're in a shared office space.
Yeah.
We're in a building, and I think they're just general reception people that come with the building.
If we could, I would like to get rid of 1 secretary and 1 receptionist. I think the secretary could. Yeah,
my client has literally said nothing about that.
Yeah, really mine either.
I don't think he cares.
Really mine either. I just was thinking of where there are ways to cut their expenses down.
Yeah, we are spending. Where's all this stuff? It's gonna be tough putting.
We're spending $26,000 on them after year 6. on both of them.
On 2 secretaries, yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it might be something to suggest to our clients, but the hope would be that, I guess, what is the difference? I don't know what the difference between a secretary and a receptionist.
Yeah,
is a receptionist only answering phones and a secretary is also doing like scheduling and stuff?
I don't understand why we can't do both. Either way, our clients didn't bring it up to us. I just thought I may bring it up to you. I didn't know if your client did. It's just another way to cut costs that we can bring up to them.
And what is Fringe someone's last? Is that the other software developer guy? Or
I thought that was Gold.
Huh?
I thought that was Gould.
Oh yeah, we have Gould. What is? Is that just Fringe expenses?
It is, maybe just Fringe expenses.
I guess I don't.
They say it says 20% against it every time.
I don't remember.
Dude, I don't remember a person named Fringe.
A person named Fringe. We got Jim Sparks. We got the Gould fella. Janice Banks and Dorothy Devine, which are the secretaries. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just gonna chalk it up to Fringe expenses.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, that's something we could suggest. Like, hey, you might want to just you're spending almost $25,000 on Fringe expenses.
Yeah.
You might want to maybe be a little more specific on what you mean about that.
Yeah, keep the books
See
a little
what
neater.
you can cut out.
Have these secretaries that you're paying so much. Keep these books a little neater. But yeah, okay, I totally agree with this. I would just like to go over again the royalty thing. So.
Okay, and actually, when we go over it, just to save some time, I'm gonna start typing things up.
Okay.
As we solidify them here. Take a second here. Computer's kind of old. So I'm just gonna title this Recommendations and Proposal.
Okay.
Alright, so we have, so we'll go with the royalty for, we can just go on this order if you want.
So we're getting 5% of the royalties?
At up to when the sales are below 30,000, and if this is a good product as our first product, we're going to be getting 12.5% consistently, without having to.
Which would be I'm a sucker at math. Which would be.
So if we're making $100,000, we're getting $12,500, and that's without having to. There's no risk.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just getting royalties from it.
Yeah.
It seems pretty,
So is this? I'm a little confused. So is this Power Screen their product or our product?
And it's our I believe. I guess I'm not an expert in IP, but because we're getting royalties from it, it's got to be our product. I know the only thing I can think of as comparison is like if a singer writes a song, sings it, and then sells their song to a commercial. For a commercial, they're going to get royalty checks every time the commercial is played.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know exactly how technically the ownership works.
Yeah.
But this is what we will see from the product.
Yeah.
Our name will be on the product, I'm sure.
Yeah. And those terms are agreeable to your client, agreeable to mine. I would like to maybe, just looking at it now, I didn't really look at it too hard before. I would like that 12.5% to be, maybe like I would like to end it at See, we're going up by like 2.5% each time. But I would. I wish we could get it up to 15.
Yeah. So what my client said was that he would be willing to cut the company in, like if it was, if it's his decision, for 10 to 15% of the royalties on Power Screen. And all I know, I tell you that, and all I know is that the investors have offered this number. So and the only reason that I'm willing to write in the proposal that, we think you should go for 15%. Mm-hmm. The only reason I'm hesitant to do that is because it seems like we would be both parties are going to benefit if we can get Gates to buy in
on their terms, yeah.
And if Gates, if we play ball and don't haggle with them on this, they might be more willing to buy in.
Our overall expenses will be better off.
Yeah, that's the only thing,
I get what you're saying. It makes me kind of cringe a little bit because the work was done with your client's talent and the company's resources. Yeah, we're gonna have we're not gonna make the most that we could off of it. But
I guess, and if you think about this, so based on our biggest sales years are under $300,000. Say that this company goes and they're like, okay, they sell $1 million worth of it, which would crush any of our sales.
Yeah.
That we're talking about $25,000 that we would miss out on.
That's true.
By bumping it up to 15, as opposed to we're already right now we're spending almost $200,000 on advertising.
And by allowing Gates to keep more of their cash, they can build this supermarket of things it's just gonna help us in the long run if that's the arm we're gonna use for our marketing from now on.
So I think what we should suggest to our clients is pretty much what we just said. If you're comfortable with the 12.5% at the top, fine. Otherwise, maybe try to feel them out.
Oh, yeah.
But consider the fact that you
want them to buy in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreeable.
Okay, so let's see. Power Screen royalties. Let's see. How do I just pull up? Do I have my? Just copy and paste that here. Okay, Power Screen royalties. And then I write advise clients that if this is an acceptable offer, they should take it. If they feel like they could push the 12.5 to 15 without
hurting their position on
compromising the Gates buy-in, then they should do so. So I think that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then how about the next thing we can talk about is Hacker's employment contract / role in the company.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll be
moved to R&D.
So old employment contract voided and new one written to make Hacker the head of research and development.
Yep. Same money.
New same salary.
Subject to a product limitation.
Subject to working on no more than two projects at a time.
Unless authorized by the board. Let's put that in, because there could be some instances where...
Unless authorized by the board. Also, board must... I'll put this down here. Board must authorize sort of cancellation of project.
Yeah.
So that way he just has to see things through.
Yeah.
And I guess also board must approve
Funds.
the funds used and whether or not a product will be released.
Yeah. And
then next thing we can do the third party neutral.
well, I would like to write in there too that there's an understanding that hacker knows that all products is working on are for the company or the property of Hacker Star.
Yeah, all projects worked on are property of Hacker Star. Okay, third party neutral board member in whatever way clients see fits, elect a third neutral board member to break ties
With replacing Sparks with a younger,
look for younger.
younger, cheaper, recent business grad that will stay with the company long term.
Must be decided by board after third party neutral elected.
Okay. Now we have to adjust when the gates buy in.
Gates, or what is it called? Super software marketing buy-in. And we have Class B stock, no voting rights, but as condition to sale of stock, they will have the authority to market and advertise products after Power Screen.
Yeah. Well, including Power Screen and beyond.
Yeah, except that they, we're already getting agreed to that with the royalty
with
thing.
the royalty, yep.
So just so that it'll be a clean
slate where we can decide on everything from there. Yep.
After Power Screen. After Power Screen, still have to negotiate the cost sharing between Gates or the super software marketing and Hacker Star. Okay, so far our recommendation is the Power Screen royalties. Advise clients that if it's acceptable offer, they should take it. If they feel like they could push the 12.5 to 15 without compromising the Gates buy-in, then they should do so. Hackers employment contracts, old contract voided, new one to make them head of R&D with the same salary, subject to working on no more than 2 projects at a time unless authorized by the board. Advise clients that if they feel like they could push the 12.5 to 15 without compromising the Gates buy-in, then they should do so. Hackers employment contracts, old contract voided, new one to make them head of R&D with the same salary, subject to working on no more than 2 projects at a time unless authorized by the board. Board must authorize cancellations of projects. All projects worked on are the property of Hacker Star. Board must approve the funds used, whether or not a product will be released.
Mm-hmm.
They should elect a third-party neutral board member in whatever way they see fit.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to add in there that if it's, I don't know what their articles of incorporation or their bylaws look like, but we should say we can amend those to, it has to be just a majority vote.
Yeah.
Because right now it might say, because there's only two of them, it might say need unanimous.
Unanimous, yeah.
So amend bylaws or articles of incorporation to include that majority board vote rules. Replacing Sparks, looking for a younger, recent business grad to groom and stay with the company long term, must be decided by the board. Gates, Class B stock, no voting rights. As a condition of sale stock, authority to market and advertise all products after Power Screen goes to Gates / Super Software Marketing. After Power Screen, still have to negotiate the cost sharing between Gates and HackerStar.
Yep. Miscellaneous, let's also address, to bring it up to the personnel issue. Inquiring if you need 2 secretaries and a receptionist just to cut costs.
Decide whether HackerStar needs 2 secretaries and a receptionist. Also, look into, what was it called? Fringe.
Oh, fringe costs.
Look into Fringe.
Why is it 20%?
And see what can be cut out of that expense.
I don't think any of our clients are hurt to the extent where we need an apology from the other. I feel like this transaction here is an apology. This could be enough for both
I mean,
of
my
them.
client didn't really say anything that he wanted an apology.
No, pretty much it was just keep the company.
They wanted to keep the company, and yeah, like I said, my client's big thing was, he's indirectly, he basically said that, sales isn't his thing. And this is fine, and also that he didn't want to get taken by Star, and your client felt the same way. Yeah, and I think this is.
Yeah, and I think with the Power Screen agreement for the royalty right now, that's a good incentive to get Gates to buy in, and then for all the future products, they can work it out so they can get more of a profit if they see it fit. And that's something in the far future that we don't really need to address.
Yeah. Okay, we're also supposed to write, if we don't have an agreement, why. So I'm just going to write.
What do you mean?
Because we're now, in the instructions, it says, come to an agreement in the contract.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can't come to an agreement, write why.
No.
So I'm going to say no agreement. Do you have the authority to make an agreement?
No.
Okay, so neither side has the authority to bind our clients.
This is just our suggestions.
So this is our list of recommendations. Our list of recommendations and proposals. Okay. And if you just want to take a look, just to make sure.
Yeah, looks good to me. You just sent me that too?
Yeah. Pages back in order. 4, 5, 6. Alright, I will save this. Contract for power screen.
Well, suggested contract.
That's just how I'm saving it
Oh,
for in my
Yes.
file. Alright.
Alright, and that's it.
Alright.
Thank you.